Hello folks, welcome to Gaming News. If you wanna get informed about my videos going up or just see me shitposting, you can follow me on Twitter, which would be in the description below. Otherwise, just subscribe to this channel. And I hope that works. But welcome to today's topic, which is UKIE doesn't want to do anything about microtransactions in games. Because that is the United Kingdom. Let me find the right thing, yeah. United Kingdom Interactive Entertainment Association. And there was announcements from the NHS that loot boxes do influence children's development if little children are exposed to them, making them a lot more likely to develop gambling addictions. And if you develop these things, it's a lot harder to show proper self-control as an adult, because that is what you were exposed to in childhood. Children tend to be very fragile, and you have to be careful about these things. This is also why you don't give children alcoholic drinks. Not only because it's poison, but because you will likely raise an alcoholic if you did so. It's an addictive substance, you have to be very careful about it, which is why brands like Coca-Cola try to advertise and appeal to children by doing their Christmas giveaways to poor people, because if you grew up with a sugary, highly addictive drink, chances are you're gonna be drinking it in your adulthood, and chances are you will pass it down to your kids. It's how addictive behaviors work. If I think about my childhood, thankfully I wasn't exposed to games with gambling behaviors, really. I remember my biggest once was me staring at the subscriber world in RuneScape through a fence, because there was a fence and the person said that you can only enter if you're a member, if you're a subscriber. And I eventually convinced my mother to just take away some of my pocket money. It was 2 weeks of pocket money out of 4 weeks worth, and she would just subscribe me to RuneScape and I could enter that area. But that was a one-time payment. I wasn't bombarded with advertisements in the game going, oh, buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that. I don't think that would have been that good for me. And I don't think I would allow my current child to play the new version of RuneScape that does have all of these microtransactions. If I look at the games that I play now as an adult, and I can very easily filter which ones I would give to my child and which ones I wouldn't. Oxygen not included, perfectly fine. I would give that to a child because I know that there isn't any splash screens of DLCs. I would give them The Sims 2, not so much The Sims 3 or 4, because in The Sims 3 you're advertised store content all the time, and it's one thing if you're a teenager or an adult. You understand the worth of money and you understand self-control and you choose what to get and what to not. It's another thing if you're a child. The same way I wouldn't give them The Sims 4, because unlike older games where nothing in the game would tell you about DLC until you got it, nowadays in The Sims 4 it's displayed on the main menu with all the packs that you do and do not have, and the main menu will just play an ad of the packs that you do not have on loop. Meaning you are exposed to that DLC, you know that it exists, you want it. It's to always remind to you that that DLC exists. I do not appreciate that. But that's a mild form of microtransaction, with a less mild form being card packs, like FIFA does, which is essentially loot boxes, which is essentially gambling. And now, I know all of these things because I'm a gamer. So I know what to expose my child to and what not to expose my child to. Right? Now imagine I was a parent that knew absolutely nothing about that. What can I trust? Well, I can trust the rating system. You would expect that the rating system would be enough, right? Well, no, actually, because E for Everyone games, like FIFA is, PEGI 3+, like FIFA is, they do not mention that there are any money spending capabilities in the game. So I would see E for Everyone, there wouldn't be any warnings about it on the box or anywhere. I would be like, oh, football game, well, my little boy likes football, this game is appropriate for him, and I would purchase it for him. And I wouldn't give more thought than that, because would you really put thought into what you think is a children's toy? And what you think is safe for a kid? Of course, no, you wouldn't, because why would you? I know that FIFA has microtransactions because, once again, I am very involved in this. And if I had children, I would never expose them to FIFA. That would be it. I wouldn't be doing parental controls. I wouldn't let them see these games or get close to these games until they're a teenager, until they're older, and then you can have the conversation going, okay, you're now mowing the lawn, you're now doing dishes, you're doing all of those jobs for me, you know what the money is worth. You can make decisions. You're smart enough to make these decisions, and if they're not exposed to gambling, they are more likely to make that right decision because they weren't subjected to it when they were children. Well, obviously, this is making a lot of money for UKIE, so they do not want you to think that. So instead, they go get smart about play. The UK Interactive Entertainment Association has today launched a Get Smart About Play campaign, encouraging more parents and carers to use tools that manage screen time and in-game purchases on video game consoles.
Let's move up, move up, move up. I'm in.
No way, let's smash him.
The big man's in. England against England.
Go on.
My kids, they love playing video games. They get in from school, we've got a routine. You get your homework done, make sure your bags and stuff are put away. Then you can go onto the computer and play. Go.
Lucky!
Oh my God!
See, I told you.
The enjoyment of me sitting there, having that little bit of time with the kids, us having a laugh, a bit of banter, me winning most of the time. It's unrivaled. Oh my gosh! Oh my God! The Get Smart About Play campaign provides parents and guardians with practical tips on how to achieve balance and set parameters on the amount of time and money is spent on play.
You see, this is now a very weird video because it almost like it speaks about how much time your children is investing in playing that said video game. It's not like going, it's not really going into the money situation all that much and not really talking about it all that much. It's just mentioned it once, 44 seconds in. And it seems like with this person, his routine is, children only play games around me, which would not be true for majority of the parents. I know that I had my grandma at home with me all the time when I was little. She was like my nanny, right? And in 6th grade, so in Lithuanian, that would make me about 11, 12 years old, my school switched from morning to evening because the schools were overcrowded, so they would instead have some classes that start at about 1 p.m. and then they end about 7 p.m. at evening, instead of having it go from like 8 a.m. to like 1 p.m. So you mitigate overcrowding by just moving some of the years into a different schedule. And that schedule actually afforded me a lot of unsupervised time because my mother would leave for work early in the morning. She would leave at 7 a.m. and my grandmother wouldn't get to the house till about maybe 11-ish. Which meant that I had all that time to myself, and guess what I did? I would have unsupervised video game time. And she eventually was checking my browser. And that's how I learned about the browsing history, because she was like, you're lying, Simona. You are getting online on your computer when you're not allowed to. You are having more computer time than we're allowing you. Because I would just say, oh, no, I'm not playing any games. I am not doing any of that. I read my books in the morning. Or I get up late. And later on, when teenagehood years progressed, that just went to me instead sneaking that game time in the evening. But because I was older, I was like 14, 15, my parents couldn't do all that much about it. Outside of warn me that, yes, you're not gonna feel rested, you're gonna have shitty health. Please don't do that. Please don't sneak and play games till 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning. And that's often what children will do. They will lie to you. Even if there's repercussions, they will lie to you. So this is assuming that you have adult at home all the time to watch over your kids. And speaking about lying, my neighbor was doing it from far earlier. When we were about 9 or 10, her parents would be at home, her parents would not be at home, her parents would be at work, her nanny would be at home. And we would go, we're gonna go off to her room to read books. To learn. And the nanny would be like, all right, because the nanny also had to clean the house and prepare dinner. And we would sneak off and we would play Barbie. It wasn't like Barbie, physical Barbie, it was Barbie, the video game Barbie. Because my friend, she would get very little game time. Her mother would only give her something like 30 minutes a day. I would only get like 1 hour a day. Because she was concerned about her vision. So we would sneak off and we would do these things. And her parents, I don't think that they ever found out. They became stricter over time. They became very controlling. But they never found out about all of those little lies, and that's how children operate. Until you see that debt on your credit card, if there isn't somebody watching over your child 24/7, you're just not gonna know that they're playing FIFA. But that's talking about game time. Game time isn't as dangerous as the fact that they can spend all your savings on it.
It's all about understanding what games your child is playing. Stop moaning, bro.
Yes, understand that FIFA has microtransactions and don't give it to a child, which was what I would do as an adult. It is sad that if you're not exposed to this industry, if you're a parent that doesn't know anything about this, you will not know these things because there is no warning. No, clear warning.
Give me the ball. Learning how to install parental controls to limit time, spend, or interactions with other players. Discussing
Something like only 1 out of people have parental controls on their console because you have to read something like a 50-page document to understand how the hell to set them. It is easier to just avoid games like FIFA.
the amount of game time and agreeing limits together.
What are you doing?
Remembering that the controls put you, as a parent or guardian, in the driving seat. You wouldn't give your child a bike without providing a helmet and stabilizers. The same can be said for video game consoles and parental controls. Wait! Tapu's back, bro! Tapu's back! Setting up parental controls is straightforward. Head to www.askaboutgames.com to find a step-by-step guide. Lucky boys. You right?
You just got lucky.
Now you see, he's talking about a bike, but bike is physical, so you know the danger's coming in. This wouldn't be as much of a problem if you just had really big warning signs on these boxes for parents to look at. Danger includes gambling. But they don't. They don't anymore because obviously this is how they make money. They want to hide all of that. If you had to plaster warnings as big as you do on friggin' cigarette packs with cancer, instead plaster a warning that's about 30% of the box that says gambling included with real life money, a lot less parents would buy this, but they would know. They would know what they're purchasing, which now they're not, because you're trying to hide these things, and that is the issue. Bicycles do not hide the fact that they're physical. Games just hide the fact that there is a way for your child to spend all your cash. The campaign follows a recent report from Eurogame's video game industry body, which found that only 1 in 5 parents of children who spend money in video games use the family controls available on gaming devices. This backed up by a 2019 study that revealed that just 19% of parents of children aged 5 to 15 use family controls on internet-connected devices. Yes, well, you practically got everything that you know from the video, except for maybe their wording of play with your kids, discover amazing games and understand what they play and why, learn about family controls for your console, ask what your kids think, discuss ground rules before setting restrictions. You're in charge, set restrictions that work for your family. This is very hard to do on predatory video games, I'm gonna say that. if the predatory video games had better warning marks, I think that a lot less naive parents that are not gamers would purchase them, and the problem would be a lot lesser and not as bad, honestly. But you're trying to hide that, and that is the problem. But look at this. If you just look at the same website, it does tell you that FIFA have microtransactions, but it actually encourages you to use it. FIFA Ultimate Team features again in FIFA 20. This is the mode where you earn your players and craft a full team. If you're playing this mode, then it's worth looking at different purchasing options, as some include additional packs of players. In this mode, there is an incentive to spend additional money to open virtual packs of players that can improve your team. A little like collecting football stickers you may have done as a child, but here you then use the players in your team. It's important to understand that this additional cost is an optional extra, not an essential part of the game. You can play Ultimate Team without spending extra money, although youngsters will likely want to put some of their pocket money towards it. To ensure you keep this enjoyable, ensure you have set up the passwords and limits on any credit cards on your system. Kinda atrocious that you have to do that, don't you think? Good alternative is to get children gift cards for store credit or FIFA points. You can also opt to add money periodically to your child's online account rather than associating open credit. Finally, ensure you have set up the account with an email address you check regularly, as this will ensure you stay in touch with spending. Of course, playing the game together and keeping it in family rooms is a good way to ensure you keep tabs on what is going on. This also means you have the chance to cheer on your child if they're doing well and celebrate those FIFA successes. Don't do any of this if for no reason should your child require an allowance monthly to go into gambling cards in a video game. I don't think that that is healthy for your child or for you. No matter what settings you set, you're still telling them once a month you can do gambling. I don't think you should ever do that with a child. With a teenager, they have more of a capacity to make their own decisions. That is probably when you can accept that they can see real life and make their own decisions based on it, because that's about the point where children normally get exposed to the real life. But your 5-year-old, he shouldn't be gambling on card packs. That is not a healthy mental impact. But once again, this is a problem because as a gamer, okay, I know these things and I just would select my games accordingly. I can go through my own library and go, okay, that's child safe, that's child safe. Did I see a lot of like DLC purchases on it? Is it like splashed all over the place? No, it's not. Okay, that's safe. It doesn't even matter if the game does have like 20 DLC that you can buy, as long as it's not advertised in the game, because your 5-year-old is not gonna be going out and seeking that out themselves. They will only have an issue with it if it's a feature in the game, aka gambling, aka huge pop-up ads, aka the Sims 3 store stuff, which would be displayed as a locked icon in your build mode going, you do not own this, would you like to purchase this? That is the problem. Okay, if you just have like DLC that can be purchased off the Steam store, it's perfectly fine because nothing in the game will tell you about this. Or if it will tell you, some games do it in like such a small passing that it doesn't make any difference. It's the issue when you're bombarded with this, that a child is exposed to this, that a child gets a taste of gambling. That is the issue. That is the big issue. So as a gamer, I can go, oh, Oxygen Not Included is safe. Oh, Rogue Legacy is a safe game for my child to play. Oh, this is safe, this is safe. Crusader Kings, probably not very safe. Sims 3 and 4, probably not very safe. I mean, that's DLC displayed everywhere. I know that FIFA isn't safe. Parents that are not gamers do not. And that is the issue. And you're not trying to change this because you profit off them, don't you? Yeah, you do. So it wouldn't even be like, some people say, oh, you want the government to be a nanny state. You want them to take care of your children for you. Not necessarily. I don't think you necessarily have to take out microtransactions off things. As long as you actually display that properly and warn people about it properly, and that is what stopped happening, to a point where gambling will slip into E for everyone games, which should never happen. So, for example, you're selling a virtual casino, right? Where you do not gamble real money, it's fake money, it's just a fake casino. That's 18 plus. If you're selling microtransactions in your game, on the other hand, that is E for everyone, and they don't necessarily have to mark it anywhere really visible. So you might not even know, as a parent coming in, that that is what the game has. Okay? And what else was I gonna say? Yeah, I went on quite a big rant, didn't I? Yes, it seems that it's about the time for the video to end, because I'm pretty sure that you got exactly what I wanted to say. We're not asking for a nanny state, we're asking for rules and regulations to be enforced where clearly things are marked so that people don't fall victim to predatory practices. Personally, I could see loot boxes going away entirely. I think that would be fair, I think that would be a good development. But if you don't, at least make sure that the only people that can access them are people that are responsible for themselves, aka adults. Worst case, teenagers. Never, never, never ever little children. And that kind of advice, that should be illegal. You shouldn't be giving advice for the children to be gambling. I mean, would you let your child into a casino? No? Then maybe don't buy FIFA cards. You know? But thank you for watching. If you like my content, please subscribe and please share your opinions about in the comment below, and if you like this video, leave a like because that helps drive traffic to videos.